form elements. We're talking about form elements. Form tag is used as a container for different input elements and represents a document section that contains interactive controls. The form tag is also used to tell the browser where to submit input values by using the action attribute. Let's take a look at the common input types. First, we have the input tag, which is written as left angle brackets, impute. It is a self-closing tag. It does not have a slash at the end. So the impute is just useless on its own. So we need to specify an attribute of type to tell the computer what attribute or what type of input field we need. So it tells you the behavior and the form of the input. So one of the popular type we have is an attribute type of value text. So this creates an input field with a text input that accepts text. So when you type in anything like Sunday, it accepts it. So let me give you another example. Another example is type checkbox. So you also write it like impute type checkbox. So this is displayed as a checkbox that you can tick. So let's look at another type also. Another type is password. Type password. So let's save this. So whatever you write, whatever is written in this input field is hidden. So you can't see it. Why? Because you specify that the type of this input field should be a password field. So the next one we'll look at is input field of type number. So this input field only accepts number. Even when you try to type text, it won't accept any text, any alphabetical value. It only takes number. So this is it. So in task control, you can always write your like 5, decrease it, increase it. So for more input types, you can also go to Google, impute types. So these are examples. You can check that of a Mozilla Firefox. Shows us several input types. We have the email address field. Just specify the type email, then it turns into an email address field. So we have so many. We have the search, type search for search field, phone number, type tele to type in phone number, type URL to type in URL. So many examples. So you can also check W3 School. It's also a good resource to learn more about input types. So inside the input types listed for time, week, submit, search, so many research. So now that we've talked about the type attribute, there's also a very important attribute that we would like to look at, which is the name attribute. So the name attribute is used as an identifier for the input data of value when submitting the data to a server. So what do I mean by that? So each of these input fields needs an identifier. Okay, let's use the type text as an example. So it needs a name. So the name serves as an identifier. What name should we give it? So the name attribute first equal to the quote. That equal to quote, then writing the value, which is what username. And let us not forget that since we are dealing with forms, we need to wrap this control element within a form tag. So this is write the form tag. Then we'll close the form tag here. So whenever you submit the data typed into this part, it is being given the name user. So let me comment out these other ones, since these other input fields, since we are not using them for now. You can press command / or control / on your computer in VS Code or Code Sandbox to comment this block of code out. So we have the name, username. So let's save this now. So we can type here. So let me open up the console here. So let's add our action. Let's add a button. Can add a button. So let me type my name. So the value of this input field is represented with this username. So this is what we have. We have something like this being submitted to the server. Something of this nature. Username, and the value we've entered. So let's enter a value here. Let's say Noah. So the value that will be submitted in the backend is Noah. Because why? You said the name of this input field should be username. So if you decide to change this username to let's say just name. So when you're submitting it to the server, whatever value you type here, let's say Noah Olatoye now. So here, this one becomes what? Name and Noah Olatoye. So this is what will be submitted to the backend. But because we are not connected to any server, you can't see the value for now. So that's why the name value is very important. It serves as an identifier. So another important attribute that we need to know again is the placeholder attribute. It's an input attribute that can be used with some and not all input field. It is used to inform the user about what information is expected to be entered by the user. So let me show you an example. Let's place a placeholder here, a placeholder attribute. The value, please enter your username. So let's save the file. You can see the placeholder is already shown here. So when the user begins to type, so the input field has a pre-filled text. Please enter your username. So when the user begins to type now, the placeholder is replaced with the user's text. So let's say my name is what? My name is Kolade. You can see that the placeholder is being replaced with the user's text now. So that's why the placeholder is there. That's why the placeholder is very important. So it tells the user what information is expected. So let's use the password field, for example, also. So let me uncomment the password field. Okay, so let me just retype the password field. So we just impute, type, password. So it also needs a name. The name will be what? Password. You can use a name based on how you are trying to submit it to the backend. So we can decide to use password. So let's give the placeholder now. Placeholder equal to please enter your password. So let's close this. So let's save now. So we can see. So please enter your username. You type in your username, say no. You type in your password. Then you submit. So because we are not connected to anything now, we can't submit anywhere. So the reason why I said placeholder is not used with all input field. For example, let's use our checkbox. Let's use the checkbox as an example. When if you place impute type checkbox, placeholder, click or tick if true. So let's give it a name also. Name attribute agreement. So let's save this. You can see the placeholder doesn't work on the checkbox. So the placeholder is not used for all input field. You can apply it to a type text, a type password, but it won't work with the type checkbox. Okay, so let's remove this. So see it. Yeah. So another important tag, form tags that we need to look at is the label tag. So the label tag is very important. So the label tag is used in combination with Impute tags for accessibility and Impute identification. So it is used to identify input field for screen readers. It helps screen readers to be able to know what the input field is for. So let's define. Let's clean up all this that we have. Let's define the proper tag, the proper form now. So form, a label tag, just a label. Then we'll close the label, close the tag. So what's this label for? Because it's also displayed on the screen for the user. Let's say enter your username. You might say, what's the difference between the placeholder and the label? The screen reader cannot read the placeholders, but it can read the label. So it helps your site to be more accessible. So let's have our input. Our input with the name, attribute, which is username. We have our type, attribute, which is text. We have our placeholder, which is I say, please enter your username. So the next question is, how do you connect this input, the label to the input field? So the label tag accepts an attribute for equal to what? Let's say name. So the value for this attribute for is the name value. So to connect it to the input field, you need to attach an ID to the input field with the same value on the for attribute on the label tag equal to what? Name. So by doing so, the screen reader knows that this label is attached to this input field name. This input field with the name username. So they are connected together. So you can decide to have another field. Let's create another label. Label for, let's say this time around, password. Then we have the label, enter your password. Or we can just say, rather than making a description, let's say username. Let's say username. Let's say this one is password. So the placeholder will be more descriptive. Password. So let's close the label tag. So let's have our input field. Name equals to password. So we want the name of this input field to be a password field. Type should be password. Placeholder. Please enter your password. So ID. So this ID connects it to the label. So you can also make the ID password. It's not compulsory because I'm using password. Everything doesn't have to be password. So we can even decide to make this something like credentials. Let's change this to credentials. Credentials. So this also has to be what? The ID for the input field has to be credentials. So they are both linked to each other now. So let's save this file. You can see. So this is the label. Can you see? And the placeholder for the text. So let's look at another input type. So the input type now we're looking at is a select input type. It's majorly used when you have a list of options you want your user to pick from. So let's add it to this same form. So it starts with an left angle bracket, select. Do you understand? We close right angle bracket. Then let's close the tag. Left angle bracket slash select the right angle bracket. So in between the tags, that's where you place the options. So the option, there's an option tag also. So let's do this option, the value. So it is the value that has been sent to the server whenever the user clicks on this particular option. So let's do a list of colors. Let's say this is red. The value is red. So the label for this value option will be red. So let's close the tag, the option tag. So let's add another option. Value. So let's make this yellow. So we need to put our slash to show that we are closing the tag. So the next one is option again. Value. Value equal to blue. So we have our blue here. Let's close the tag. Option here. So since this is a form, let's add our label also to it. Label. So let's put our ID 4. 4 means equal to what? We are saying this is colors. So select color as the label. Select color or select a color. So let's close our label tag. So let's attach it to this. So here, we come here. Let's give it a name. The name will be what? We want the name of this field to be colors. So the ID will be what? Color. So let's render this on the screen. Let's see what's been displayed. Can you see? So we have a drop down with a label color. So when you click on the drop down, it shows you the options. And those are the options you have on the screen: the red, the yellow. See, when you select yellow, the main field is. When you select blue, we have blue. So select the color. So the value here is what's been submitted to the server when you click on submit button. So let's look at one more input element. Input tag. So now we'll be looking at the text area. So I know this code is getting too much, so let's comment out some of this code so it doesn't. So let's look at this text area. So the text area is a multi-line input field, which is used to write content that spans multiple lines, e.g. descriptions. You want to write stories, you want people to tell you about themselves, which will span multiple lines. And you can see that the length and the width of an input field is kind of limited. So the text area serves in this area. Let's see how it's been defined. So you have your left angle bracket, the text area. You close the right angle bracket. So the right closing tag slash text area. close. So let's give our text area a name. A name equal to about. So let's add our label. Let's add the identifiers for equal to stories. So specify the ID also. Stories. So to link the text area to the input field. So we have this. So this is our text area. So this is our text area. You can see it's quite bigger than the normal input field. So when we type, we can type so many things inside. This is an illustration and teaching about HTML forms. So we can achieve this with the text input field. So we can also specify attributes on the text area, such as column attribute, the calls attributes. So this is used to tell the text area the amount of the width, to specify the width. So let's add like let's say 10. So let's see this. I think the default is like 20. So let's make it something like 30. So you can see it's occupied more space. So let's add we can also add rows. So this defines the height. Let's say let's give it 30. You can see how big it is. I think that's quite big. So let's say let's give it 20. You can see how quite big it is. So when you want to write, so when the user is writing about themselves. Okay, so when the user is writing about themselves, they have a lot of space to write about themselves. Can you see? So that's it about the text area.